You had 4 blocks tonight, and you've held them, I think, 3 straight games, a really low percentage shooting wise. How have you just thought of your defense personally and team wise in this
I
series?
think personally I've been pretty good. Just all over the floor in the fray, trying to muddy things up for them on the offensive end, trying to get them out of some of their patterns. They're one of those squads that, you just let them get into their offense and whatever they're trying to get into, they run great stuff. They're well coached. They're very disciplined. But you start to break those patterns up a little bit, and it gets a little bit tougher on them. So that's kind of been my mindset. Randomly switching, sometimes randomly going to double, just doing different things to try to keep them off balance. So I've felt pretty good where I've been at defensively. And then our team, I think, has been amazing. With the same mindset that I've personally had, just swarming these guys, trying to make everything tough. For the most part, I think we've been pretty good on the boards, which is a big key coming into this series. I think maybe every time we played them this year, at least 3 or 4 times, I'm positive they out rebounded us. And so, just finishing the play is, the attention to detail. You can guard all you want and as good as you want, but if you don't finish the play against this squad, they're going to make you pay. Sometimes they have 5 guys crashing the glass, and so I think the discipline on the boards has been amazing as well.
Draymond, obviously defense was the impetus coming into this series. You guys wanted to reestablish that championship defense. Where is this team's offense right now? Do you feel like you've been able to get into a rhythm at all, kind of get back to those higher levels, if you will?
I think we've been in a decent rhythm. I think there's still another level we can get to, and I have no doubt in my mind that we will get to that level. But with as bad as we were playing, to kind of get to where we are now is pretty solid, and it's the first round. You kind of don't want to. If you can still win and not be clicking and peaking at that time, it's great, and I don't think we are. And so I think it's been solid. We've been able to find a pretty decent rhythm, but there are some things that we can clean up on that side of the ball, and we will.
Draymond, you're over here. Your coach is obviously close to Coach Popovich, and you could tell he's been a little down lately with what's going on. How important is it to have that veteran leadership in the locker room to get through a game where there's kind of some tough things going on outside the court?
It's very important. As I said, earlier on Twitter, our thoughts and prayers are with Coach Popovich, his family, the entire Spurs family, organization, fan base, everybody. When you're dealing with a city like this, everyone rallies around this team, and it's like one huge family down here. And so, just wish everybody well in these tough times, and obviously Coach Curtin knew her well. It's been tough on him, but to have that veteran leadership in the locker room, I think is great. It's perfect setup for a letdown, and I don't say that to be insensitive at all to the situation, because life, we all take this basketball stuff serious and we want to win, but when you start talking life and death, like a game doesn't matter. But yet we still wanted to come out and try to win the game, and so having that veteran leadership to kind of try to put everything to the side no matter what, knowing that they're going to come out, on an emotional high and spirited and trying to do everything that they can to get a win for this entire city, for Coach Popovich, for his family, to kind of have that leadership to push through that and know that, hey man, they're coming out and they're going to punch us, and we got to take that punch and try to deliver a punch again. And I think we did that to start the game, and then they punched us again, and we're like, all right, here we go again. We got to take another punch. The leadership and experience that we have in the locker room definitely helps in a situation like that. But like I said, when we're talking life and death, none of this even matters.
How do you figure out when you're up enough to get guys off the floor? Like as far as your team goes, with Kevin tweaking his ankle, they're late in NBA League of Runs. How do you know when it's time to get the big guys off the floor?
I think that's always kind of a tough decision for coaches when you get guys off the floor. Nonetheless, Kevin tweaks his ankle. As we all know, you tweak your ankle, it's weaker. You keep them out there on the floor and they roll it again, all of a sudden it's much more serious than it is. I think at that point we had a 15-point lead. If we can't hold it down at that point, then we don't deserve to win anyway. And, Sean twisted his next ankle, got him out the game. That's one thing that we've preached all year is our depth. We trust our depth. And, a guy tweak his ankle in that situation, you don't want to keep him in there and make it worse. Other guys just got to step up and close out the game.
Looney's looked really good on defense over these last few games. He looked particularly good in the first half today. What can you say about what he was able to provide on the defensive end tonight and just sort of his maturation on that end of the court throughout the season?
He's been, like you said, he's been great all this, this series, but all year. When you look at what Loon went through this year and not getting his option picked up, he could have sulked and, pouted and threw a pity party for himself. He did the complete opposite. And that's what got him on the floor this year, is the way he was defending and switching out on guards and, clogging stuff up on the defensive end. And he's continued to get those minutes, and he's continued to provide that. I think, to start this series, he's taken it to another level, and it's been great. He was all over the place in that first half tonight, and we needed it. And so, I'm very proud of him and what he's been able to accomplish. What he's bringing to this team. We're definitely going to need him moving forward if we're able to get through this series. And, some of the teams that we're going to be playing after this will definitely need that. So just watching him grow on that side of the ball, it's been special.
Right here. When you start out 1 for 11 from 3, what's the mindset? What adjustments do you make, or how do you break out of that?
Well, it's funny because at some point in the second quarter, I think it was 43-41, and there was a timeout, and Steve was like, "Hey guys, we got the lead. We haven't hit a 3." I didn't even notice. You're just kind of lost in the flow of the game and trying to do whatever you can to pull ahead. We try not to live and die by the 3. If it's not falling, it's just not falling. Our defense needs to be great, and we need to get to the hole and try to get to the free throw line. I think we did a pretty decent job of that while we couldn't hit a shot. But, we never try to focus on that. Just continue playing and do whatever's working at that time. And eventually, we get in our flow, we get stops, we get out in transition, then the 3s will eventually fall.
You guys have been up 3-0 plenty of times. How hard are closeout games when you have a chance to sweep, and especially against this team, knowing that they can just play loose?
Very tough. We were in this position last year. Like you said, we've been in it multiple other times, and especially against a team like this, an organization that's filled with pride. They're never going to quit. And at that point, you're down 3-0. You got to swing for the fences. Go out and play freely with nothing to lose. We know what this team is capable of, so we still got to come out with the mindset that we've had, the aggressive mindset that we've had these 3 games, and maybe even ramp it up a little bit more, knowing that the closeout game is usually the toughest. And, we got to, just like tonight, withstand that first punch and try to throw one back and withstand another one and then try to throw it back again. So it's tough, but, we've been there before, and hopefully our experience will help us get through it.